You'll be more than 10 overnight. All of a sudden, you're at the same level. It's like I've seen this storyline before. They're even well below 500. So that plan is just ridiculous. 53 million on their roster. They're under 30. It's about half a year. That all belongs to notes. And again, having a draft pick or any draft. They only have their first draft pick. They don't have any others. They have a 6.7% chance of drafting the first right now. Overall draft. The most likely spot they landed is 49.4% chance they draft two, 34% chance they draft seven. Keep in mind that these three drafters from draft coming in at the next event. So, odds are they're probably drafting them. But yeah, so their upcoming prospects too, they have a good list of prospects. Tyler Boucher, first round pick, they have high expectations for him. Robbie Yovenzi, second round pick for them a couple years back. Really great first rounder. A lot of upside there. Matt Sogard, if you're looking for a goaltender, I'm not Phil Trustis on the board, but we know that at age 23, he's going to be the next starter. Jake Sanderson, excellent defenseman, fantastic career for him in the NCAA, and the expectation is how this all goes to Ottawa. But the prospect pool is still very good. Well, they already have a lot of good young players on their roster. So, while the record may be the same as what they had, or close to the same as what they had for the 4 seasons previous, the reality is this is a team that's at least got a lot more than it did in the league. So there's the precedent for 49 games, 17 goals, 1 assist. From what stands out to the Ottawa, this game, almost nobody's got Tyler Boucher. Batterson's a good example, 31 games, 13 goals, 21 assists, 34 points. Now, every team in the league deals with injuries and absences. And this year, it seems like we've had more missed games than any other previous season. And what it does is it tests the point after that. Honestly, they don't like to look at that just yet. If they want to handle so many major injuries. Connor Brown is a good still got term on contract, which makes him more attractive. Great. Connor Brown's been absolutely fantastic this year, but it's possible somebody gives him an offer too. Sabat, 47 games, 5 goals, 23 assists, 28 points. Not going anywhere. Both Sabat and Kachuk, who of course they would only talk about what they want to say, when they both signed long-term contracts. So I really think that the key thing for Ottawa isn't just getting all these young guys in the lineup, it's creating a better 31 and making it so that players want to play them well in contract. There's 151 games, 12 goals, 15 assists, 27 points. Definitely not taking their name down, but I'll feel the last one of these, the guys, and showing flashes of almost every game of a player that they believe they would drop in the equipment, right? Josh Norris, 36 games, 18 goals, 86 points, 6 points. And he's an RFA this summer. They're just going to see if they want to sign for a long term extension, if they want a short term extension. And if Norris can stay healthy, we're going to have a longer term. I want to see more, but it's Norris, it's COVID Norris. So, yeah, it's a shame that takes place again. We knew without Norris and without Baffert, we already have a season starting. But the record is unchanged. so far, again, I thought it was okay with these incredibly 200 side scorecard. But yeah, I would think that Ottawa next year should be better. And that's the thing. Should be better. Matt Murray has had a bounce back since the start. Should be better next year. Anton Forster should be next year.
Everything I studied at BCSE helped me work one-on-one with your classmates and your professors.
They want to watch. He's kind of been their most consistent goaltender too. But his UFA this summer, his save percentage is a 917 save percentage. And again, there are teams looking for goaltenders right now. Forsberg could be an option. I would think Florida. The Florida right now, if they don't have saves in tonight, maybe they bring in Forsberg. Forsberg shown to save a lot of shots. Save the majority of them to the point where he's at a 917 save percentage in Ottawa. And they're looking to kind of create that absolutely work. And again, for Ottawa, while they just have to lose Forsberg, that's something that you think you could probably replace them with him. Your adjustments are coming out, and you still have that money in the contract, and they have to play more again. There's a lot. Well, I can't see. Now, other RFAs and UFAs on their rosters, Jeff Gaudet had a pretty good run for Ottawa. I think they'd be interested in keeping him around for 1 or 2 year extension. Then we have Raul, who we very well get moved at the deadline. Which is kind of surprising. Victor Mete in RFA this summer. I would probably keep him. Mete is still, again, decent. The one thing with Ottawa is, obviously, if they get better, some players are going to get replaced. That's like right now, the pieces are okay, and that's probably elsewhere. But for right now, they're kind of in this middle ground where it feels like they're going to come out of this long to go, although the record this year is out yet, which doesn't way to go. I think the deadline and then obviously the draft, followed by free agency, will give us a better idea if this one's a better next year or not. There are UFAs that might be traded at the deadline. Chris Tierney, who's been up and down for a year, did a pretty good start. But Tierney and the cap hit that he has, I'll be interested to see if he does that. He's a favorite thing. And Josh Brown, who I think has been decent for them, and there's the confidence there too, so there may very well be a decent long-term Josh Brown, unless Ottawa decides to do that. I don't know how busy they're going to be at the deadline, to be honest. Welcome back. All right, so continuing my series on teams going into the trade deadline and then going to the Penguins. Pittsburgh's an interesting team. They have a little less than $3 million in cap space at the deadline. They have Corey and cap friendly. And the Penguins are kind of sandwiched between each other independent teams, and I don't think any of them are going to be happy with the first round lot. Carolina 53 games, 37-11, 571 points. Pittsburgh 55 games, 33-14 record, 74 points. And the Rangers 53 games, 33-15 and 5 record, 71 points. The battle seems to be between Pittsburgh and the Rangers for second and third, because Washington is played 55 games, 28 games, 9 records, 55 points. Columbus has maybe a little bit of stable with 2 points. Washington now 54 games, 28, 25, and 1 record. But while they are within 8 points of Washington and 14 back in the Rangers and 17 back in Pittsburgh, so that's the highest that Columbus could climb would be over Washington. Now for Pittsburgh, again, 5 points behind Carolina, 3 points behind the Rangers, they play more games than both. We're likely looking at a Pittsburgh team that finishes either second or third in the division. And if they're against the Rangers, it'll be interesting because I don't think either the Rangers or the Penguins would be happy with the first round loss. Although for the Rangers, they're definitely on their way out. But for Pittsburgh, this might be their last chance. We say that every year, right? Now, I did not take Pittsburgh to win the playoffs this year. I have picked Pittsburgh to win the playoffs over the last 2 years. I think I've done it once when they're on to there. They always bounce back. They're always in contention. They're always very good. The 2018, they lose in the second round against Washington after their Stanley Cup in 2017, which followed their Stanley Cup in 2016. 2019, they lose in the first round against Minnesota. And 2020, they lost qualifying round against Montreal. speed, transition, speed. The thing is, they may be older, they're not necessarily slower. So their top line, as Denzel, Crosby, and Rush, this line's been absolutely fantastic, one of the best lines in the NHL over the season while they've been together. Crosby, of course, missing some time, he's got 16 goals, 34 assists, but that's 20. Denzel, 25 goals, 28 assists, for 52 points, and Rush, 18 goals, 24 assists, 22 points. Now, Brian Rush is UFA stuff. I cannot see him not staying in Pittsburgh. I cannot see him that he's going to fight for a very reasonable contract because James Crosby and Nelson have done the same in their contract. And that seems to be a storyline and maybe some last goal for Boston that goes as well. Crosby's 34 though. And at some point in time, age becomes a factor. When you look at their second line, restricted free agency might be a factor. Dan Time is restricted free agent this summer, 11 goals, 10 assists, 21 points. How much is that worth? Probably a year contract, and I think he gets a raise. There's Canada going the other way. 9 goals, 16 assists, 25 points. Restricted free agent this summer. I don't think this year's got the way Canada would have won with 2 overall. And Malcolm Van Miller has only played 19 games, 9 goals, 12 assists, 21 points. He's 35 years old. UFA this summer, and that might be the biggest challenge for the Great House of Pittsburgh. What to do with Malcolm? You extend it for 2 years to get it to he wants 5. What if Malcolm says he wants 5 years ahead? Because Malcolm is 35, and as much as I think Malcolm's a fantastic player, one of the best players of his generation, the reality is he's guaranteed to get hurt in 20 years, which means that you have to watch how much money you're throwing at him. Don't click it, Mike, it's a scam. Oh, that was reason. Listen. Probably why the time he got harder is interesting. He got harder being 37 years of age. He has 13 goals, 15 assists so far this season. That's not good news for Pittsburgh. Jeff Ross again, 10 goals, 6 assists. Still did nicely for what Canada was doing for the last year. I don't think he knew exactly what Canada was, but that's fine. Put the puck in the net there and then do that scoring. And Evan Rodriguez is UFA this summer, 15 goals, 18 assists, 34 points. So you give Rodriguez money as a UFA based on total, or you maybe risk giving him a contract offer that would be considered low because when Nelson will run up, Rodriguez is not that scoring dry up. So there are some questions to answer here for Pittsburgh when it comes to the free agency lawsuit. But they're obviously not just wondering about anything in the deadline unless they don't see Rodriguez as being part of the future and somebody offers him a bunch. But I can't do that. Ashton Reed, UFA this year, 1 goal last year, at 20. He's had a week that I'll talk about in the future. Just the 1 goal that they are hard working. But again, he'll be a reasonable contract for you. Brian Boyle, 37 years of age. He's a UFA this summer, 6 goals, 3 assists. He's been very good when he had to fill in. With Teddy Bluger out, that's what Boyle and Rowan have more than expected. And Simone, UFA this summer, ball 3 goals, 6 assists, 9 points. He's serviceable as a point liner. Making sure that Pittsburgh's going to take the fine. And then you get to the blue line where you've got Dumoulin, 3 goals, 11 assists, 14 points. He is one of the more underrated defensive in the league. You've got Hussein, 34. UFA this summer as well. 6 goals, 4 assists, 48 points. So again, this is a team that's going to have to, make some financial decisions. How long do you give what kind of extension for? Does he get 5 years? You take until he's going 40. You take until he's 40 and go with a 6-year contract. You need to see what they do. Patterson, a goal and 11 assists goals on the blue line. Marino, he's been very good in goal and 17 assists. I really like Marino. Friedman, RFA this summer, he only played 14 games. He's got 4 assists in the games he played. Rudy he's going to get 7 goals, 14 assists per game on the season. That's below their blue line. They may want to work with the deadline, depending on how long it's going to take for the city to come back. The games are hard to get going as well. 8 teams, 1 goal, 1 assist per game. And again, if you have enough injuries up front, you can plug in someone else. That's for, you don't have to wait inside the minors. First the game, you play one game for them, have to win there, was really good, and so keep on using less flat at this point. Goaltending is an interesting topic of discussion. Christian Jarry, 26, 11, 6, 9.1 save percentage. There are those who believe Jarry has had a great year, and they're right, Jarry's had a very good year. But then you have the counter of whether or not you can be able to win the series. Especially, let's just say they're in against the Rangers. The first thing people will look at is Jarry versus Sherman. And even though Jarry got the shutout the last time they met each other, this past weekend, most people will take the Rangers in that series. Now, Crosby, Malkin, all these other great players up front, and fantastic. Then people will look at the best man, the premier coming. So the Pittsburgh Penguins, they really need this win, right? They've got Smith to back up the USA with something. He's got 6 games, he's got 3 save percentage. And sometimes he looks really good, sometimes he doesn't. So for me with Pittsburgh, they're kind of the great unknown. They're filling up the last 27 Stanley Cup winners the last time they won the Stanley Cup. That they can't really rule it out as a contender. But I don't know. I don't know if I understand that. And I think that the fact that this is an older team is going to possibly cost them next year. We've seen that with the Islanders. It's not the only reason the Islanders are in the position they're in, but it is part of it. You've got to have that push to go to.
New Astro Protein and Fiber Yogurt. 14 grams of protein and 4 grams of fiber in every serving.
If you want to know the rules that we play by, you can check the description for a detailed list. But put simply, only the first draft Pokemon encountered in a given route or area can be caught. No duplicates and no legendaries. If a Pokemon faints at any time, it is permanently lost. No items except held items can be used in battle. Party Pokemon levels are limited to the next gym leader or Elite Four's 8, and finally on set at all times. Before we look at what this game has to offer for grass types, I just wanted to note that less than half of people who watch these challenges are subscribed to them. Thanks guys, let's get into it. So in Black 2, on the face of it, in terms of grass types, there's a lot to work with all these final stage Pokemon being available. However, we have to cut this down quite a bit. First, a couple of these Pokemon are found on the same route as each other, meaning we might lose a couple of these possibilities depending on what first encounters we get. Next, Lilligant is exclusive to White 2 aside from one in-game trade. Leafeon, Tropius, and Carnivine can only be obtained in the post-game, unfortunately, and Virizion is, of course, a legendary and can't be used. This means we have a total of 11, maybe 12 possible encounters, depending on how you look at it. The grass type is not known to be the greatest in Pokemon, having a ton of weaknesses to poison, fire, ice, flying, and bug, and having really low base stats as the 4th worst type overall after buzz, normal, and electric. But at least they're usually a bit well-rounded. 3 of the gym leaders also have super effective types against us, and Black 2 is a tough game, so let's say a prayer. Unlike our Ruby Psychic-only run, this time we actually get to take our starter with us, the grass type Snivy. I named Levi because Leviathan is too mainstream. Our first rival battle goes successfully as we live with just 4 HP. It's always super embarrassing and a terrible omen for the run if you lose this initial fight, so I could live another day without shame. Levi ends up having a docile nature, which is neutral, and I'm totally fine with that. It could have been much worse. On Route 20, the second route in the game, we find our next encounter as the Waddle. Now, this has immediately cut off all possibility for ever catching a Sunkern or Sunflora, since this is the only place you can find it. I was kind of expecting this, though, as Sunkern is only a 5% chance here, while Waddle is a 35% chance. Waddle can be found elsewhere, so in a sense, this is unfortunate, but I mean, come on, it's Sunkern. I name it Monarch, and we head for a second rival fight. You know how he was supposed to have anger issues since his sister Purloin got kidnapped? Well, boy, is he ever going to be feeling when we kidnap his soul. After a bit of grinding, we reach Karen Gym, and I'm actually feeling quite confident about this battle. Not only does Sawaddle have a 60-power stat move and bug bite, well with our base 70 defense, and we finish them off. A little luck with that crit, but ultimately that's a pretty easy gym battle. After making our way through the Burbank complex with a few close calls due to the fire, steel, and poison types we had to face, Levi hits level 17 and evolves into Servine. With that, it's time for the Burbank City Gym. Now this gym, I'm terrified of. It's a poison type gym after all, and we are not set up at all for that. Thankfully, with a combination of using growth to start our attack and root tornado, after waiting until we get into the overgrowth territory for a grass type move boost under a third health, we're able to take out the trainer despite some very close calls. Now the problem with Gym Leader Roxy herself is that she has a Whirlipede, which has 4 times resistance to grass moves. Overgrow will not be a viable strategy for this at all. Another good option, Root Seed, isn't available until level 19 or 20 for snagging Servine, and the level cap is 18, so we just missed it. With both our Pokemon at the highest possible level, it's time to see what we can do. While studying Roxy's team, I realized something. Her coughing shouldn't actually be able to do much offensively on us, as it only has Smog, Assurance, Tackle, and Clear Smog. Clear Smog is a big threat since it can nullify any boost we get Servine, but I attach a Petraberry on him so we can heal poison at least once. What ends up happening is we go for growth to charge up our attack power, and coughing goes for Smog. Now Smog only has 70% accuracy, so it did miss the first few times, but it hits us on the third try and poisons us, but our Petraberry helps us out. Knowing both coughing and Whirlipede are very defensive, I'm boosting like crazy, and thankfully the next Smog hits us, but doesn't poison. I decided to go for Leaf Tornado here, and it just barely doesn't take out coughing, but knowing she'll likely potion, I go for another growth before our next Leaf Tornado can take it out. In comes the Whirlipede, and I am really hoping that we get enough. At least we didn't get our boost taken away by Clear Smog. Whirlipede goes for Protect on the first turn, then our Tackle does over half. It then uses Venoshock on us, and I'm like, oh god, but we survive and take it out with another Tackle before getting poisoned. Wow. One thing that occurred to me right as that happened was that Venoshock actually doubles in power if the target is poisoned, so thank God we didn't get poisoned again by the coughing, as there's no way Sawatto could have touched Whirlipede at all. Second gym patch down, and we were quite lucky to get it. Now we all know what's next, right? Perhaps this Masterpiece game's one biggest downfall. Pokestars due to use it. Pokestars. Alright, I can't even say it. This. After that nonsense, we arrive in Castelia City. Now, as strange as it may sound, this is where we'll be getting our next encounter. In Black 2 and White 2, you can actually access the Castelia sewers, but no, we won't be getting our encounter there. What are we, peasants? While grinding down here, Monarch eventually reaches level 20, where she evolves into a beautifully charming Swatloon. Swatloon just looks so comfy. But don't get too comfortable, buddy. You're going to get punched in the mouth probably several times during our journey. For our efforts in the sewers, we're awarded with a leftovers item, which should be quite helpful, and also a second miracle seed, which I actually didn't know that we could get. Not bad. After the sewer saga, you can actually go up to where Castelia City apparently began, Castelia Park, where we can get our next encounter, a Cottony. We successfully catch one, and done with it. We make it, but say it. This. Yes. After that nonsense, we arrive in Castelia City. Now, as strange as it may sound, this is where we'll be getting our next encounter. In Black 2 and 1-2, you can actually access the Castelia sewers, but no, we won't be getting our encounter there. What are we, peasants? While grinding down here, Monarch eventually reaches level 20, where she evolves into a beautifully charming Swatloon. Swatloon just looks so comfy. But don't get too comfortable, buddy. You're going to get punched in the mouth probably several times during our journey. For our efforts in the sewers, we're awarded with a leftovers item, which should be quite helpful, and also a second miracle seed, which I actually didn't know that we could get. After the sewer saga, you can actually go up to where Castelia City apparently began, Castelia Park, where we can get our next encounter, a economy. We successfully catch one and nickname it Fluffy. I know, original. Turns out Fluffy actually has its timid nature, plus speed and minus attack, which is the second best nature we could have possibly gotten after Modest. Amazing. Knowing that we have a bug pet gym ahead of us, I tried to go on ahead to our next encounter in the desert, but we can't quite get where we need to go yet. Regardless, I decided to run into a bunch of wild Pokemon so we can meet the requirement for 40 Pokemon seeds to get the Eviolite, which should be quite helpful, at least in early game. I get it, an attack is economy, who is likely our weakest